Good evening, everybody. It is September 11th at 9:30 Eastern Time, and looks like clouds have cleared out. Things are looking decent, but a lot of moisture in the air tonight. So I'm not sure what we're gonna get, but at least we'll have another chance to start dialing in the scope a little bit better. I've noticed that with the dome and the pier and a permanent mounting setup for the scope makes it much easier to spend 15-20 minutes on the scope and figure out what's going on and help get the system really dialed in, and takes 5 minutes to close everything back up and shut it down, and much better than previously. I had a situation where I'd pack everything up into the car, drive 20 minutes or so down to a local field, and I think it took me about an hour to set up, and I'd be out there in the field, for an hour or two, and then it would take me probably another hour just to pack everything back up and get home and get into bed. And now I just walk out the back door. I wander over, power everything up, and actually that's where we are right now. All I've done right now is power everything up. I've opened up the dome and pointed it in the direction I think M57 is going to be in for it, but I could be off a little. We'll double check it as things progress here. But so I've got basically a planetarium software set up here, and just so I could see, in the sky where M57 is. So I'm actually going to go ahead and close this Cartes. Close it down, and sure, we'll save. Doesn't much matter. All right, so this is where we're going to start. It's just Notepad open so I can let people know. I do run some software here just so that I can see the temperatures for the computer. There's a computer outside in the dome that it's got no fan. It's basically a sealed computer. Got it off Amazon. You just search for like industrial fanless computer, and you'll come up with a bunch of different options along that line. This is actually what runs the observatory, and does all my work out there running the scope. But I do like to keep an eye on what the temperature is, so that I can just, if it's getting too hot, I could come up with some other solution. Maybe put a little air conditioner in and seal up a box to keep it in. But I really would obviously much prefer not to do that. So anyhow, here's where we are. So for the first beginning of the night, I'm going to go ahead and launch the Celestron software. I just updated it the other day, and it's obviously not liking my resolution here particularly. I've removed the monitor from there just because of the humidity in the air and everything else. So we're just going to go, we're just going to close this. We've got our screen, so I always like to shrink this down. So we're looking north, there's Polaris. So we're going to go ahead and click connect and connect up to the scope. And we're going to go ahead and begin alignment. And right here, I can usually, right here from File, load my pointing model. So this is going to go ahead and, in fact, actually, hold on a second. Yes, find home. It makes you find home before you connect up and load a model. So it's gone to a home position. It knows exactly where it is. And I'm going to go ahead and load my old pointing model that just remembers how far off the scope is from being pointed directly at the center of rotation for the Earth, basically the North Pole axis of rotation. So we can go ahead and close. I'm going to just go ahead and close this. Yes, set alignment. All right. Okay. All right. We're just going to ignore that. Try this again. File, load pointing model. It's pretty forgiving. Thank goodness. All right. So the pointing model is loaded. Let's pop this open. So I've got some points here added. Polaris. So what we're going to do is we are actually fairly well done with here. So let's go ahead and minimize the screen here. We are going to launch Cartes again. Takes a second. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and connect up the telescope. It's already connected and set up here with ASCOM drivers. So we're going to go ahead and connect. And good, everything looks good. Let's connect. Nice and simple. These are red ascension and declination. So we're going to go ahead and hide this screen. We're going to zoom in a little bit here on M57. There we go. Right click and telescope. Slew M57. I'm remote desktoping to the computer out there, so you'll notice there's a little bit of lag. Sometimes I have trouble, clicking on things the first time, so apologize for that. And it's not slewing. Check here. No, it is not slewing. Did I not? Wouldn't be the first time. Did I not click? Telescope slew M57. There we go. I, again, must have, the lag with the remote desktop must have just given me a bad click or something along that line. No true explanation. And there we go. The scope should be centered on M57. You can see the reticle is moved over onto it. So we're going to just go ahead and minimize the software. Let's go ahead and pop open our Maxim DL. And wow, the resolution has really gone down. I've disconnected this my computer screen, and I may have to go back out there and rehook it back up because it has gotten pretty bad, pretty small here. So we'll give this a shot. There's our camera control window. So we're going to go ahead and connect up our camera, and we're going to turn on our cooler. And we can see our temperature is 21.8 degrees for our sensor. And give it here a second. I'd just like to see it dropping. Sometimes it takes it a little bit, although I honestly expected it to be dropping by now. I'm wondering if there's a problem with a cable or connection. Wouldn't be the first time. I have been adjusting some things, so I'm wondering if the 12-volt power has been disconnected there. Yeah, it's still sitting at 22.1. I'm going to go ahead and go outside real quick and check the orientation of the dome to make sure we're actually pointed in the right direction. And so I'm going to go check the dome with the scope, and I'm going to check the power real quick. And actually, at the same time, I'm going to bring out the monitor and plug it in so I can get my resolution hopefully back up. So bear with me for just a minute, and I will be back in just a few minutes after I check this stuff. So don't expect it'll be too long, and appreciate you bearing with me. righty. Sorry about that. So, as a matter of fact, the power must have been when I pulled the monitor out of there this afternoon. The power did get loose and pulled for the 12-volt supply for the cooling. So, as you can see, that sensor temperature is now down to -11. So we're getting where we need to be. So let's go ahead and just do a quick exposure. Let's see what we get. We don't need to do continuous, so as soon as we get the image, I'll stop it. Okay, star is actually somewhat looking focus. Not great, but let's see what we got here. 25%. Oh, and there's our there's M57 right there on the left-hand side. So go ahead and turn this color so we can see what we got. Oh, I may have screwed up my COM port connections. That's I'm wondering if I accidentally knocked it when I was out there. Let's go ahead and close this. The auto guide rates backlash. Okay. So I have not found a way to reconnect up yet. So it says it's connected. You know what? I'm going to click go to home. Yeah, and I'm not seeing it slew at all. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to disconnect. It's not a terribly big deal. Yeah, so I'm going to close the program. I find reopening it, although it's not. It really doesn't disconnect. But this is the first night this is upgraded. The 205. I was on the 204 before. And so we're attempting to connect here. And so I upgraded to 205. Yeah, it seems to have talked to it. So let's see if this is an issue. So I'll go find home position. Okay. All right. So it's finished homing. So the basically the software knows exactly where the scope is pointed right now. And we're going to load our old pointing model again. This is what's great about this new mount is that that's it. I've now aligned it. So finish my alignment. And I'm done. It's completed. So now I'm going to go ahead and hop back over to Cartes, and I'm going to connect up my telescope again. Connect. And let's go ahead and hide it. And there's M57 right there. And telescope and slew. And there we go. We're back on M57. And let's launch our software again. Let's see where we are with it again. Do a, let's set this for single exposure. And let's go a little more than 4. Let's go to 10-second exposure. Okay, good. Looks like it's basically in the same spot. Let's convert it to color. And I'll take a look at our stars. I still should do an autofocus or a manual focus. And there we go. There's her color. It's seeming very grainy tonight, and I'm wondering if we've got some dew issues. I'm really not impressed with that at all. I'm worried that we've had a lot of moisture. So let me go ahead and launch PhD, and we'll get it guiding. That is very grainy. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But either way, we'll go ahead and connect up here, connect up the camera. And then with this mount, I have absolutely found that you need to do the on camera through the ST through there's a cable that connects the mount directly to the camera, rather than having the computer directly talk to the mount through the software. So go ahead and connect it up here. Go ahead and begin looping our exposures. Okay, I see a star. Tools, oops, sorry, not manual guide. Auto select star. And let's go ahead and it's shift and guide, and this will do the recalibration. And this will take it a minute. While this is going, I'm going to go outside and check the main scope and see what's going on. So we're just going to let this go ahead and calibrate, and then when it's done, you'll see it start to auto guide. And we may have to fiddle with the settings just a little bit. This is only the second night I've gotten auto guiding working. So got it working the first night, got to play with it, but then the clouds rolled in. So tonight I see some clouds on the horizon, but I don't think that they're going to be much of a risk at this point. So I'm going to let this do its thing, and I'm going to look for humidity on the gear and make sure that there's no problems there. I will see in just a minute. And in fact, I'm going to bring some cleaning materials just in case. All right, folks. I'm sorry. You win some, you lose some. So the camera definitely has some humidity in it, which is why it's giving that completely grainy, blurry result. That's why you'll notice that the auto guiding I changed some settings a little bit real quick and kind of moved things around a little bit, and that was just due to when I was looking at the main camera, I disconnected it. I physically removed it from the scope to look a little bit closer and saw that there's definitely some hazy humidity on the inside of the cover. There's a desiccant that tonight I will put in the instructions say to put in the microwave for a couple of minutes and then put it back in. But so we're gonna get crap images tonight, and I'm sorry about that. But he will still let us test everything out, or it should. So we'll see if the PhD accepts the fact that I knocked the scope around and did it. It might still actually be able to calibrate based on what it's finding, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes here. But we'll do some images. We'll see what we get. We'll work on a little bit of the guiding, and it'll still let us know whether or not the guiding is good, whether or not we're getting round stars, or if we're guiding in the wrong direction a little bit and getting oblongs and so forth. But we'll find out here in a second. From now on, I'll actually when I do these star sessions, I'll actually have already hooked up. I'll get PhD all calibrated so that and I'll even probably have I'll make sure the scope's aligned, taking a few test images to make sure that it's pointing in the right direction before starting the live streaming, because this is obviously it takes up time. There's really not much to it. And I'll inform you of any settings that I've changed or things that I've done to improve my my tracking with PhD, especially because that seems to be a huge part of it, is getting PhD to track accurately. Because the more accurate that tracks, the better your stars are, the better your images are. So we'll keep it going here. I think I've screwed up, but I think the knocking the scope while I was taking a look at that camera has messed up the guiding just a little. I think it's very confused right now. I don't think I've ever seen North Step 47 before. It basically just steps the scope a little bit in one direction, a little bit in another direction, and again it tries the different directions until it gets north, south, east, west. You're right ascension in your declination, and learns what commands it needs to do in order to send the star in the appropriate direction. But This is not looking good. Not a horrendously big deal. I can always just stop this and recalibrate it again. I don't know how forgiving it is. I'm assuming it's not particularly forgiving. And I have been getting this error that it's been disconnecting, but it immediately has a mechanism to reconnect up. But it does worry me. I've got a different camera on the way that I'm going to be setting up for an all sky camera, so I can see the environment, and make sure I don't open the dome, especially when I've got remote control of it, so I don't open the dome in a situation where there's it's rainy or not looking good. It'll be a weatherproof dome outside. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. Let's go ahead and redo this. And in fact, I also dropped the temperature of the well, increased the temperature of the camera to 5 degrees instead of -15, with the hopes that that will allow the humidity in there to essentially re-evaporate. Let's see what we get here. Okay, there's our nebula. Still very, very fuzzy, so I don't think that's helped as much as I was hoping. That's a shame. But these are the bugs that you work out when you're getting into it. So obviously my desiccant is not doing its job. Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, that's because of the humidity in the camera. What a shame. I mean, it's beautiful, but that's not a good image at all. So, no, I definitely don't want to save that. Anyhow, let's go back over to PhD guiding here, and let's go ahead and just recalibrate this again. Patience is definitely something that I've started to learn. I don't have a lot of it. And unfortunately, this astronomy requires a whole lot of patience. A lot of sitting back and watching a screen count up steps. Yeah, and it's lost communication with the camera again. I may be replacing a camera. But for sure, we'll start with soaking them or putting them in a container with desiccant. Let them fully dry out, just the humidity that's been in the air the last couple of days, and let it dry out. I thought they were sealed better than that, but we'll see. It's just a process of figuring it out. And there we go. It's realized it's lost communication with it. It'll reconnect up, and there's connected. Definitely frustrating. Getting this stuff dialed in has been a lot more of a work in patience and frustration than I would have thought. That all sky camera does come tomorrow. I'd be ashamed to actually have to just put it straight into auto guiding and not be able to set it up for the all sky camera like I was hoping for. But maybe I'll test it as a auto guiding camera and see what I like, and maybe I'll have to buy another one. Um, Time will tell. shoot. This is the error that I was getting before. Is this right ascension and declination axis angles that are questionable? I thought I had solved this by going to the on scope, but maybe not. Let's see what we've got here. Well, that's interesting. They're 90 to each other, except obviously for some reason it went up the y-axis there. Where x is 0, but y was increasing. That's interesting. What happens if I accept calibration? Let's see what happens here. I mean, it looks like the auto guider has control of it, but just watching that graph go. You want it as close to the middle as you can, and you want it nice and steady. Definitely can be frustrating. Well, I'm just going to sit here and watch this for tonight. I may recalibrate it again, see what we get, and see there we're getting the image. I can tell when it's about to lose it. I suspect I'll lose connection with the camera again here in a short period of time. But I'm just going to work on auto guiding tonight. I'm not even going to obviously take any images because there's just no point. There's just too much humidity inside the camera. So I'll get that desiccant taken care of, and I'll actually pull the camera and probably put it inside a container of desiccant. In addition, I'll work on clearing the humidity out of the desiccant. So there's a couple things I can do there in the instructions. Putting it in the microwave, I think, for 4 minutes, and then you put it back into the camera, warm still. Mine has an external little cylinder that the desiccant sits in. So I'll go ahead and do that tonight. This weekend, it looks like Friday night, Saturday night look like potentially really clear nights. Let me just pop that open real quick and see what we've got. So if you do happen to be around, and by then I should have the cameras nice and dry without any problem. So this is tonight. So it's going from not very clear. It's already cleared up pretty nicely. To our cloud cover really drops here in about an hour, and it's clear the next morning. Thursday night, it looks like there's some stuff to do, but really Friday night, I think it was looking really good last I saw. And just for giggles, let me just where's it got me? Yeah, this is a fresh one. So yeah, we've got like 2% cloud cover. And even the alternative forecast has it dropping down. So I would say that Friday night is looking exceptional, going all the way into Saturday. Saturday morning is oh wow, zero cloud cover. And even the alternative forecast also shows that. Um, Saturday evening higher, but still, I mean, honestly, this. Oh, and the alternative forecast has it at zero. So I will definitely say that Friday night and Saturday night. Granted, there's a hurricane off the coast; anything could happen. But I have good feelings about this, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go for the evening. We'll click back over to the auto guider for a little bit here, but have a good evening, and I'm just going to be watching and fiddling this. I'll end up stopping the broadcast here in just a minute. So have a great evening, and join me Friday or Saturday evening. Looks like I'll be here. So take care, and have a good one. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to recalibrate. Um, the It looks like it's guiding okay. Uh, we got that this section here looked really good, but I think I'm going to move down the aggressiveness some. But what I want to do though is I want to get that calibration, uh, you know, set up better. So let's go back in here. I'm actually going to drop this down to 1 second, just because it seems to have less of a trouble with the disconnects at 1 second. I'm going to auto select a star, same star as we figured, and shift click to force the recalibration, and let it do its thing here. And just not doing well with that. All right, we're going to stop it. And I'm going to go the other way with this. Let's go to 3 seconds. I'm just gonna wander outside while this is calibrating and check the dome, make sure that it's not accidentally touching the dome. But actually, this one seems much more successful than the other one. We'll see how far this backlash step goes. But I think this was much faster. It's looking good. Let me go check the dome. I'll be right back. Wow, you live and learn. So the humidity is pretty impressive out there. I got a light real quick on the scope, and you could see that it is it's completely covered with dew. So this is an off-axis guider, which is actually looking through the main scope. So basically have two cameras looking through the main scope. This one's just looking through a little portion of it to find a star to guide on, and the scope is just it's everything is covered with dew. The humidity is so high out there with all the rain that we've gotten and the weather conditions. So basically after this is done calibrating, I'm going to watch it, but there's just nothing I can do tonight. You just live and learn. I forced the first session I forced, and clouds moved in, but at least I got the auto guiding working not so bad that night. It was I was happy with that. But now with this humidity, it seems to be wreaking havoc with the cameras. The scope is all dewed over. I have dew heaters that I'll wrap around and I can plug in that'll warm up the scope and keep the dew off of it. But they're not set up right now, and I don't even have them out at the dome. So I'm not going to bother with that tonight. But you just live and learn. So anyhow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually keep this running just in case somebody's watching and has any advice for me on the PhD guiding, and see what our calibration does, just so that anybody else that's trying to learn with me or is running into similar problems can see what I've got going on. But it's there's definitely no imaging going on tonight. So I'll pack everything up tonight, and Yeah, same problem. Let's take a look at our, see if it's doing the same. That's even worse. Look at that. I don't know if it's the dew causing this or what our problem is, but definitely something's causing problems. This is the exact same problem I was having before. Maybe I didn't fix it by using the on camera ST4 connector. I thought I did. It worked. It worked great last time, but tonight it's giving me problems. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and um, I'm just gonna go ahead and close everything down and call it a night. There's just no point because I don't know if I'm having trouble with it because of the dew and other things along that line, which it easily could be. You know, refraction through a wet, you know, lens could be doing all sorts of problems. So anyhow, I'm going to shut everything down. I'm going to get stuff into desiccants to make sure it's dried out for Friday, because Friday is looking fantastic. So anyhow, have a great evening. Sorry we didn't accomplish anything tonight other than just experience frustration, but it's part of it. So have a great evening. Enjoy, and hopefully I'll see you Friday. Take care.